What is going on, everybody, and welcome back. It is episode 22 of Meet the Critters. I don't know how it's still going, but it's still going, so we're just going to keep it rolling. We're going to have a fun one tonight. We got Joe Blakeslee back, and we're just going to kind of shoot the shit, update what's going on, talk about winter, what's coming with that, what no one's excited for. Everyone's going to have to give me a little credit. I do have what I'm assuming is some type of flu coming out of the Orient that I'm not really going to talk about much, but if I cough through this, I apologize. So let us go ahead and bring Joe up. What's going on, buddy?
Normal craziness.
Yep, all the joys. I've started promoting this, like the podcast itself. It's like, yeah, I would talk with homesteaders, farmers, stuff like that about what's going on. And I'm like, in the end, it just turns into a therapy session of like, life's fucking hard.
Yep. We're just that special kind of stupid to keep doing it.
Yeah, exactly. It's like, yeah. Stupid is the word I'd use. It's the same people that stick in abusive relationships. It's like he's gonna change.
Yeah.
It's not. It's still gonna get cold. Cows still need to eat.
Yeah.
Pigs are gonna fuck each other up. It's gonna happen.
Always.
Speaking of pigs, you got a surprise.
Yep. Yeah. Just had 7 new babies, so that was exciting. I got some pretty cool colors. I'm debating on. I'd really like to see how these grow because it's part of the breeding program, like we have talked about before with the Mangalitsa blood and trying to get something that's a little bit more winter hardy. But at the same time, I'm like, I don't really want to raise feeders through the winter, so I'm back and forth. If I get my bulk bins up and get them filled, I might consider raising a couple just to see how they do, so I don't have to wait till next spring and the next batch to raise. So,
but then there's also always that feeling where it's like, yeah, this would be a nice chunk of change if these all went. Like,
yeah, yep,
that's always there.
Yeah, so she had 7 her first litter, which was back in January. I got 3 of those feeders still. Those ones I wasn't sure if I was going to keep or not because their dad was half Mangalitsa, half Idaho pasture pig.
Okay.
But I sold him right after I processed the other ones that were out of his litter because I didn't like the results that I got from him.
Right.
So this batch is out of my new boar, which he is Berkshire and Duroc.
Nice.
So they are a quarter Mangalitsa, and they got Burke on both sides. I think there's some Hamp in there, maybe a little old spot going off of what the people I bought these 2 sows from had said. It's so hard to tell when you're getting mixed pigs because they bought their pigs from somebody else and they're going off somebody else's word.
You have no idea. So, they're just a good old fashioned meat mutt.
I'm pretty sure they got some Hamp in there somewhere because she's thrown belted piglets from 2 different boars now. So there's a pretty good chance there's some in there somewhere. And then, so I'm excited. They look pretty nice right now, and they've already got their legs under them. They're moving all over the place.
That's awesome.
So I
love piglets.
I got some video I took yesterday. I'm going to try editing that sometime early this week and get it put out.
Perfect. So I just finished editing one, like a piglet update video. They're finally off mom now. So, and it's actually gone pretty well. Like I haven't had anything trying to break through fences. I haven't had many issues, and they're kicking ass and taking names.
Yeah.
But now
I'm trying to figure out what I'm going to do with these ones because the last ones it was cold yet when I weaned them. Right. So I threw them in one of my hoop houses that I had for my meat chickens last year.
Right.
Which worked out excellent for them because I just bedded them heavy and they weaned enough until they got big enough. And then as soon as spring hit, I trained them right to electric fence and they've been out ever since. So
that's awesome. Yeah. I mean, these guys they respect the fence to a point. Like they're still piglets. So they've been used to running under electric fence their entire lives. So now they're like, wait, I can't run through this one. Like, and there's only one wire in that one. So I had to because for people who are watching and don't know, pigs are super visual. So it's like, if they can see through it, they're going to try to go through it because they think they can.
Yep.
So I literally have just makeshift boards in front of the hot wire so they can't see through it and they can see the wire. But then Nino, the boar we kept, he's a little. I love that fucking pig, but I'm like, you little son of a bitch. He just hops over the board, surfs it into the landing area, and I'm like, all right, yeah, you're lucky. You're goddamn lucky.
Yeah, he's like, oh yeah, I'm invincible. You're keeping me for breeding. He ain't gonna hurt me.
Like, I can get away with anything, and I'm like, you fucking can. Unfortunately,
I think my wife shared it on Facebook, but that whole if beef packaging labels were accurate,
yes, I shared that.
Funny.
I loved it.
It's accurate because
it's so accurate.
You know, you care for those animals and stuff, but they're usually at least daily. There's one animal on your farm that gets you to the point where you're like, you're so lucky.
Oh yeah,
that I haven't shot you yet.
And for those who haven't seen this meme travel around, it's it looked like a T-bone steak or something.
Yeah.
And the label was humanely raised and processed, verbally abused, but verbally abused or something.
Yeah.
And it's so goddamn true. Like in the video I'm about to post, I'll do a cool, I'll sit in the pig pen because I'm training them on marshmallows to try and make it so it's like, hey, they're going to come up to me when I carry this bag of marshmallows out, or if we need to get them in a trailer or something.
Yeah.
So I've been trying to go out and sit with them for even if it's 20 minutes a day and just kind of get them used to me so I can get hands on them. And I'm like, I'll do that on camera. I'll just talk about them while I'm here, this, that, and the other. And these things are jumping all over me. They're running around, biting me in the ass. At one point, I'm like, I'm trying to film a YouTube video. I know you don't understand. You need to calm down.
Yep. Yeah. The other ones that get your anxiety about fencing going a little bit.
Oh, I don't like it. Joe,
the other day, I don't know what happened, but something happened and my fence was completely shorted out on that half of my property. And I went through and I cleaned it up and it's working great now. But I showed up in the morning to feed with my pigs and half the feeders they're trotting up through the cow pasture like, hey, where's our feed? And I'm like,
I hate it.
Yeah, I started cussing them out. But luckily the pigs are trained that, feeding them by a bucket instead of having a bulk feeder has worked great for that because they know that I'm going to feed them. They went right over. I took the buckets and propped the wire because they wouldn't go back through the wire. I was like, all right, you little, you came out, go back in.
Go back in. But they're like, that's a hot wire there. I can't do that. It's
exactly.
You came out in the first place.
Yep. So they end up going right back in as soon as I propped them so they could jump through. But
that definitely is a benefit of the limited feed instead of doing the bulk feed.
Yeah.
It's because they just come right to you. It doesn't matter where you are. If you walk in with a bucket, if you walk across your yard with a bucket, you have their immediate attention.
Yep.
So
how's it going, Rachel?
What's going on, Rachel? Yeah. Rachel's got some fun fencing coming up. Have you been following that in the group?
Yeah.
The Great Pyrenees. Yep. All the power to you, Rachel. We're here for you if you need help from a distance.
Yeah. Yeah, I'm hoping next spring I would like to start going the border of my property with woven wire, at least the border, just to keep stuff contained if they do get out. I haven't had a lot of issues. Luckily, my neighbors are pretty decent.
Right.
But if it happens continuously, they do start, and it's harder down on my other neighbors because the cows get loose down there. It's just poly wire. But that's what he wants. He doesn't want permanent fencing down there. So I'm respectful of that. But he's never complained. He'll usually text me, hey, cows are in the yard.
Yeah.
And I go right down and figure out what's going on. So it's back and forth.
That's why I don't raise ducks, Rachel. That's why they are the devil poultry. I
think mine are heading out this Wednesday.
Mm-hmm.
See ya.
Yeah.
They are, and they just hatched 3 more. Well, they hatched 6. I got 3 left.
Yeah.
These hens. I've never had ducks that hatch this many babies, but those Rowan hens that we got last year, they are hatching machines. If I have a fox problem right now, they took out my whole laying flock a few months ago, and they've been slowly picking off the ducks here and there. But if it wasn't for that fox, I'd probably be up to close to 50 ducks out of 8. That's how many they've hatched this year. That's crazy.
Insane. Yeah, I honestly don't think I'll ever do ducks again. They've scarred me that much of just not gonna do it.
we enjoy them because we have a nice pond and stuff. I'm planning on doing a fall homestead tour because I haven't done a tour of my whole property yet.
Yeah.
I was kind of holding off until we could afford to buy a drone, but I'm going to do it. I might try to pull up aerial view map and try to lay out some stuff and talk about it.
Yeah.
So I'm not sure exactly. I've been trying to plan for that for like the last couple months on how I'm going to do it.
Yeah. One of my dream things to do is to get, my neighbor has a drone. I should just ask her to do it, but it's more of getting it all printed out. I want to do like a big, like chalkboard size, like photo of the property and like put plexiglass over it. And it'll have like, that's more towards when the rest of the field is fenced in and there's rotation and stuff going on. But that would be a huge thing to be able to have a full bird's eye view of the property and then be able to just with like an expo marker be like, all right, these are going here. These got to go back over here. What's in here? Who's it going to kind of thing.
Yeah.
Like that would be awesome.
I'm going to need something like that when the kids start moving animals for me.
Oh yeah. That's the other thing of like, all right, pay attention, look at this and look at it again and then help me.
Gage went with me the other night. Usually he's hesitant because he doesn't like walking that far. Like we don't have a four-wheeler or nothing to move. And once you get over to the neighbors, it's all downhill. So moving fence on there, you're going up and down the hill continuously walking. So, but he did pretty good. He stuck right out there. I think it was like 8:45 by the time we got all said and done. And even in dark and stuff, he's like, yeah. After a while, he got tired. I said, all right, you stay up here and wait for me. I'm going to come from this way. And I just gave him my phone so he had a light.
Right.
And he did. That was pretty impressive. He did pretty good. Usually he'll start getting a little, I want to go home. Can we go back to the house? But he hung right in there until I got it all done.
Nice. Yeah. My wife and kids went to my mom's just to visit the other day. And she called me on her way home. And she goes, Leah, tell Dada what you got. We go, we got acorns. I'm like, all right. She pulled the awesome parenting hack of just like, hey, go pick up all the acorns you find on the ground. Leave me the fuck alone for like a half hour. And she came back with like a giant like paper grocery bag full of acorns. I was like, nice. Cool, awesome. And she's like, I want to go give them to Carmen. And I'm like, all right, fine. So we have been getting like nonstop rain. So the main paddock's a mud pit. And now Tally's alone. So she's like, I need all the attention possible. So I'm like, all right, I'll carry you out and whatever. And then she was tossing him over the electric fence. And then my wife was like, come get the baby. So I grab Julia and I bring her over. So then I just put Julia down in the pen because I'm like, she's got no fear. She starts chasing the piglets. And I get Leah over the fence. So she's hand feeding them. And I'm like, just be careful. Like, those aren't soft to like grab a hold of. Like, they could nip you. And she goes, nip? I'm like, they could bite you. She goes, I'm like, you just need to be careful. You need to watch where your hands are, like, and pay attention. And of course, like Julia at this point is halfway across the paddock. Like these pigs are running for their lives, just 1.5 with zero fear. And I just hear, ah! And I'm like, she got bit. Oh boy. And I walk over, they bit me. And I'm like, so now I'm carrying both kids back over through the mud. Tally's trying to like get attention from me. I'm like, you son of a bitch. So I pass the baby over, get her over, and she starts walking in. I'm like, I'll go grab everything else. And she's sobbing. My wife's trying to calm her down. Yeah. And I just hear, I'm never going in there again. I did a full 180. I went, hey, stay right there. And I get out of the pen and and I'm like, come here. I'm like, I'm not mad at you. You're not in trouble, but we're going to go for a walk. And she looks at my wife like, uh-oh. Is he going to kill me? Like, what's happening? And I'm like, we're just going to go for a walk. And we walk down the laneway, and our lawnmower that died in the middle of the laneway is still there. So I brought her down, and I sat on the front of it. And I'm like, okay, did you get scared? She goes, yeah. I'm like, did I tell you not to be very careful hand feeding them, that they don't know any better? yeah, but why? I'm like, they're babies. Like, they're like your sister. Like,
Yep.
they don't know any better. They're just trying to figure everything out. You're holding food, and they don't know how to use their mouths right yet. Like, they're still figuring it out. Well, it still wasn't nice. I'm like, they don't understand that. Like, I need you to promise me that you're not going to talk like that again. We love these guys. You love Carmen, right? She goes, I do love Carmen. She's 4. And it's like,
Yeah.
yeah, but it's like we had a good talk, and I was like, I want you to be a part of this. I want you to help me raise
Yep.
these and go through all of it because I want you to learn. She goes, learn what? I'm like, to be a good person. She goes, I want
Yep.
to be a good person. I'm like, all right. So I'm like, are we good? She goes, yeah. I'm like, you gonna go back in there with me someday? She goes, yeah. I'm like, okay. Went back inside, got her a popsicle. I'm like, but it was like just hearing her be like, I'm never doing this again. I was like, nope, nipping this in the butt now.
Yeah.
Like,
Gage gets that way. Like actually the other night we had the similar talk, doing something I just told him, don't do that. You'll probably get hurt. I was stringing, the neighbor had his pond cleaned out, and there's big mounds of mud that's dried out now. Right. So I was walking across it, trying to string the fence across some sections that had some really nice grass. And I told Gage, I said, don't walk across it. You're going to fall.
Yeah.
I strung one section of wire over and tied it to the poly wire. Slam! He's screaming, bloody murder. So I stand him up. I said, you need to calm down. You need to toughen up. And same situation. Every once in a while he'll get angry and he'll be like, I don't know why we're farming. This is so hard. I don't want to do it. And he gets all mad. We need to get rid of these animals. He's like, when I get older, we're just killing all the animals, Dad. We're just killing them all. I'm like,
that is the weirdest part about raising kids as a butcher.
Yeah.
That's like the number one go-to. It's like, I see these things dead all the time. Why are we even doing this?
Yep.
Because that's her go-to all the time. It's like, can we just shoot it?
Yep.
Like, no, we can't just shoot it. And there's always that little bit in the back of your head of like, you're right. Like, you are absolutely correct that this sucks.
Yep.
But I've put all the eggs in this basket. This is all we got. You will not have an inheritance because it's all going to feed. I don't know what to tell you.
Exactly.
But that's where we are with life.
Yeah, feed is outrageous. Dude. I got to start looking at my options for a bulk grain bin, at least for the pig feed for the winter.
We're trying to do the same.
I'm thinking I'm just going to end up building it out of wood and putting a metal roof over it and going that route.
What I do right now is I use a old chest freezer. If I could find another one, that would be awesome because I could probably fit a ton in both. But right now I'm buying like 8 bags at a time.
Yeah.
I'm filling it. And of course now I'm between all of them. I have 17 on the ground right now. I mean, I limited feed, but it's to weight and everything, but it's still over 5-gallon buckets for all 17. Like,
yep.
So
that's where I'm at right now. I've got both pastures with all my 2, each pasture has 2 breeding sows. Plus I got my boar, 9 feeders with the set. Now I got 7 piglets. So
sell those feed.
But the problem is the places around here to buy bulk feed, I can get 1-ton sacks. I just don't have a good place to put it inside where mice, rats, and stuff won't get into it and keep it out of the weather because I utilize my whole garage for a barn right now. So I'm rotating, like when I start milking the cows again, I got to run the cows through there. They'll get into it. So a bulk bin's the best way, but to have them deliver it in bulk, you have to buy a minimum of 3 ton.
Yeah. We're looking at one of the silos, like the big torpedo ones. Yeah. My buddy got one, Carlisle, who was on here before.
Yep.
He only said he spent like $1,600 on it. And I'm like, that's not awful. And I think they financed it. And it's like, he has a contact for bulk feed as well, that it's like, it's going to be half the price. And I'm like, I know. And it's with the size we're getting to, it's like, I need to to do something. Yeah. Rachel down here says 55-gallon drums. Yeah, that does work. But on the level of,
for her rabbit, she's saying
when you're where we're getting into the tonnage.
Just wait until you get a couple hundred rabbits. It's not cheap anymore.
No,
been there and done that.
Yeah. But we never got huge with rabbits, and I'm so glad we didn't. I enjoyed them.
Speaking of, I haven't done a video on that yet or shared it, but I got 2 litters of rabbits too that are like 3 weeks old. So,
oh, never a dull moment.
No, I've got I got 4 breeding does and 2 bucks. And I do it for just us, but now I'm starting to slowly get people that I'm selling to, and I'm making okay money off of selling rabbits processed.
Yeah.
I just had a guy reach out to me a couple months ago, asking me about non-GMO or organic. I'm just having a hard time sourcing, not at least even non-GMO or rabbit feed. And then online I can get it and order it, but it's like I got to make it, you have to buy like 20 bags to make it worth it. And then you're looking at like, it's like $1,200. I was like, I don't have $1,200 to put into it to even. No. So I'm looking at like, I'm going to have to charge like $55 a rabbit processed.
Yeah. There definitely is a line that you need to figure out what side of it you're on when it comes to your customers, that because there are people that are looking for non-GMO, non-soy, like all of that. And because I came to that point recently because I had a customer that was like, well, I'm not buying a pig from you because of like you use soy sometimes and this, that, and the other. And I'm like, okay, then don't. I don't know what to tell you. I will find someone that will buy it.
Yeah.
I understand, and I don't really hold you against anything. I completely get it. But
I would love to go that route because it's in the long run it's better. But like another YouTube channel I was telling you about right before we started, my buddy Cruz there, he had just touched base on that, and he's having trouble because he's in the mindset right now of the chemicals they spray the stuff with, being transferred into the feed. And I get it, but I cannot get enough people to switch over. And even like he said, even with the non-GMO and organic feeds, they're still allowed to spray with certain chemicals. So you're still, no matter what you do, unless you grow it yourself or source it from a local farm that does, for sure does not spray his crops, it's tough you're never going to get away from it. With animals that eat grain,
you're never fully going to get away from it. And then there's the other side of it where it's like, you're also not going to tell me that it's not helpful. Like these other grains and stuff like that. You're also not going to tell me that it's not going to put a good finish weight on something in a month. Yeah. Like as opposed to whatever GMO, like non-GMO organic thing that you've probably paid too much for and it doesn't have what it needs in it. Like, so I get it. I do. But there's also a part of me that's just like, I don't know.
When I first started getting into learning about being prepared and stuff, this is when me and my wife first got together. I owned my own robotics business for a while, and I traveled.
What?
Yeah. We've never touched on like stuff that I've done before. But for a couple years,
go for it.
Yeah. For a couple years, I had a robotics programming business, and me and a couple of my buddies, we traveled around and programmed. There was a lot of industrial welding robots and stuff. I worked down in Mexico for
you did
quite a few months.
Yeah.
Yep, that's what I was doing down there, was programming robots and stuff down in their plants. And but while traveling around, I had time in a couple jobs where I had a few days off, and you can't do anything when you're gone. You're not home.
Right.
So I sat down and I figured out how much land you'd need and how many animals to keep just your family fed. And I went through for New York State on, the bare minimum, what you can grow for, corn and soy and all that. And like, I had it all wrote down. I can't remember the exact numbers now, but I spent crazy amount of hours trying to figure out, okay, if I keep 20 chickens and a breeding pair of pigs, saying that you can't get anything from anyone else and you have to source everything from yourself or neighbors, this is how much land you need. And it gets to a point where you're like, you just can't be completely self-sufficient unless you're willing to live off the bare minimum.
Right. Yeah. There needs to be a level of like, you can live sustainably forever.
Yeah.
With zero luxury. Or you are living baseline at nothing.
Yep.
But you're completely self-sustaining. And there is a line with that too that you got to figure out.
Mm-hmm.
For you personally.
And it's it's tough having, small kids, and you can't just shut your power off, especially, I mean, I could not do that right now. I couldn't shut my power off and no, we're done. We're not doing the power anymore.
No. God bless the people that can, but
yeah.
But
I was
then
talking to the Amish today.
There's also the people that can't and they still do it.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's like
Yep. Yeah, I was talking to the Amish today. I said, yeah, they have those power outages. We might have to shave my mustache off and start dressing like you guys, get my horse and buggy out. He's like, we got one lined up for you right here. I do 90% of my business with the Amish. I get most of my animal feed from the Amish. Unless I start buying in bulk, I'll have to buy from another local place. They have a chainsaw shop, sawmills, steel shop, dry goods stores, a couple of those. There's a couple medicine places, greenhouses that we have local. The dry goods lady, I actually talked to her when we went and bought sugar, and I'm thinking I'm going to end up buying a lot of my spices and seasonings in bulk. We're going to do our own mixes for sausage and stuff out of the butcher shop.
Nice.
So yeah, she's like, yeah, as long as you give me a week ahead, order a week ahead, I can get it around for you, make sure we got everything. So I think that's the route I'm going to go, because she's really inexpensive. I can't beat her prices for what I can order somewhere else. Even pre-mixed stuff is going to be more expensive than what I can get through her. So
yeah, that's awesome. I wish I had something like that. We got nothing up here. Like, yeah, I have everything in my cart now that I need for my fall order.
Yeah.
So it's honestly not bad. I really just need sausage seasoning and a couple other things.
Now, do you do pre-mixed or you mix your own seasonings? Pre-mixed.
Yeah, I get it. I buy all my stuff off Walton's.
Yep.
And they're awesome. Every interaction I've had with them has been great.
Yeah, I've got a whole cart full from Walton's right now of stuff that I need for the shop.
Yeah.
So,
but yeah, I just get the Excalibur seasonings that they have. All my customers love them. If any of my customers are watching, I'm getting breakfast sausage seasoning. So that's been a thing. I've limited it just to hot and sweet, just to keep me going.
Simple,
and every year they're like, "Do you got breakfast?" I'm like, "I don't have breakfast yet. I don't."
Yep.
The closest
we're doing. I think we're starting with five flavors. Is what we're trying to keep it basic. I think we're going to do a breakfast, a maple breakfast, and then we're going to do sweet and hot Italian, and then maybe kielbasa.
Yeah.
Just the basic, what you pretty much are going to see at any shop. That's what most people want.
Right.
We might expand in the future, but just starting out, I think that's a good
that's more than enough
starting point.
Sure.
Yeah.
I think the only thing I would add now is the chorizo. Because
I've seen that, but that's not very common here.
Yeah, it's not. For some reason, it is here. For some reason, chorizo is everyone has it here. And I'm like, where we are, right? But
I've never even tried it myself.
It's delicious. We had it at the USDA shop I worked at.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, it was so good.
I honestly have never even heard of that until Tiffany was talking about that when we did our roundtable. Yeah. So I've never even tried it. I'd like to try it. I mean, if it's something that's really good and it's something, especially if I'm the only shop around this whole area that does it and people start actually getting a taste for it, it might work out in my favor.
Yeah, no, definitely. Something new it is hot. I will say that.
Okay.
But it's a good, smoky hot. And my thought is if anyone wants maple, I'll maple breakfast sausage. I'll just add maple syrup and it'll be fine.
I think we're either going to do that or I've got quite a few friends. I mean, we're in, everybody says Vermont, but Vermont ends up shipping a lot of stuff from New York, New Hampshire to make up their quota.
Yeah, I was going to say we're in that spot too. They're there.
So that's one thing. If I ever moved out of New York State, I'd want to move to a state that I could still do at least a little maple syrup for myself.
Yeah. The second that I just said that of oh yeah, no, we have a ton here too. I went, oh yeah, I have 3 people I could call and get maple syrup in bulk.
Yeah. We played around with it last year when we butchered my feeders last year. Me and my brother played around with it. And we did. I had some Aunt Jemima stuff or whatever. Better not say that. We'll get canceled out here.
Corn syrup.
Yeah. Well, we put that in there just because it was cheaper versus the real stuff. And they're night and day difference.
Oh, God,
But another thing I was thinking of, just maple sugar instead of maple syrup.
See what I did.
Mix.
That would actually probably work that would actually probably work better, honestly.
Yeah.
1 year I screwed up or like the packaging was screwed up, and all of the like just normal sweet sausage I got was hot sausage.
Mm-hmm.
So I just had all hot sausage, no sweet sausage in the middle of freaking hunting season.
Yep.
And I'm like, ugh. And I'm like on the phone with my mom who has Prime. I'm like, I'm about to send you a link. I need you to order 7 of these off of Amazon because they'll be at your house tomorrow. Like, and I was in the middle of grinding a bear. All the seasoning was already in. And I'm like, I'm on the phone with the guy and I'm like, listen, this is where we're at. All your sausage is hot sausage currently. What I can do is add brown sugar to one of them, and we'll dull it down a little bit, and we'll see. And he's like, that's fine. All right. And it was all link sausage. It was the biggest bear I've done so far. And I think it was 170 pounds of grind because he ground the whole thing into links. I was like, oh. So yeah. And
you charge extra for links and stuff.
Oh yeah.
People are like, I don't understand why they charge extra for this or they charge extra for that. You don't realize how much more work that is.
Oh my God.
Because you gotta, like, people are like, well, it's just grind. It shouldn't be any more work. You got to debone every little piece of meat off that animal. And, you know, if you're doing boneless cuts, you're still at half the work. It's just grinding the whole thing.
Yeah, it's a lot. But I get that all the time. It's like, why do you charge so much for link sausage? And I was like, well, my boss, one of his parting words when I left the USDA shop, when I was working on my cut sheets, I was like, because they were awesome, they were like, if you have any questions on anything, come talk to us. Like, we'll figure it out together. That's fine. So I'm talking about my cut sheet and everything. And my boss just goes, if you don't want to do link sausage, price it.
Yeah.
Price it up. And I'm like, yeah, but that's crazy. And he goes, if people want it bad enough, they'll pay for it.
Yeah, they will pay.
And the people that don't want it that bad aren't going to buy it. I'm like,
see, I don't even think we're going to put, I don't think, at least at first, I don't think we're going to offer
it's not on mine. I took it off of my cut sheets.
Because
but if people ask, I go, this is the price.
Yeah. Especially for the amount of animals that I hope that we're going to be putting through a week. Because both my kids are in school now, so I don't have the responsibility of, I got to watch my, you know, like you have.
That's so nice.
They just, you know, Gage just went into kindergarten this year. So both of them are going to be gone all day. So I'm hoping that I can put out a fair amount of animals on a weekly basis, depending on bookings. And because right now with all the overhead we have putting up a brand new shop and all the stuff, I need to get stuff moving through there. So I'm hoping we keep getting delayed on everything. Like the trusses are delayed. So that's delayed finishing up the dry into the building. I haven't got the freezer moved in there yet, which I need to do. And which delaying getting that end wall built is also delaying me putting electric service on because it has to go on that end wall.
Right.
And then that's also delaying the spray foam guy, which is delaying the interior getting put in and everything else getting finished.
Right.
So I'm going to be pushing it really, really close. If not, at this point, I'm not sure if I'm going to open up when I am hoping to.
Yeah.
Just because everything keeps getting shoved back, which it is what it'll get open when it gets open. I was just hoping to be open by rifle season to have that heavy influx of venison, try to pack the bank account with some, you know, fast money. And because, you know, like you guys were talking about the other night, you know, on the podcast you were on, or the other day, I should say.
Yeah, Jack Spirko's podcast.
Yep. You know, moving through and once you get a rhythm down, you can pump out, you know, in a decent 8-hour day, you can put a lot of venison out.
Oh yeah.
And depending on what you charge, that's a good chunk of money per day. So
mostly cash.
Yep. Fingers crossed, mostly cash.
Exactly,
but we are going, just because we do plan on going USDA. We are putting a small credit card machine in. We got to charge for it. It sucks, but
it is what it is. It really is what it is. And it's like, that was something that I had to get over too when we first started. because I still kind of wanted to be the nice guy and kind of be like,
Yeah.
I know, let me do this, or like,
Yeah.
let me push this because hopefully it'll make it, like, I'll have the time. And there just needs to be a point where you just go, I can't. Like, I can't. And I'm not going to feel bad about it because I can't. Or I'm not going to make it at this time. This isn't going to get done here because I'm only one person. I'm trying to do it all. Because that's the hardest part. Like, do you have employees like in mind, or are you just running it and gunning it yourself?
To start, it's going to be me. Danae will probably jump in and help here and there where she can.
Right.
With packaging, but she's also going to be doing the office work and scheduling and stuff on top of her full-time job. So right now I'm just planning on me. My brother said he'd help part-time here and there when he can. But I'm not going to try pulling him away from his full-time job.
Oh, yeah.
Just because I want to make sure that I have a good, steady customer base before I try hiring anybody.
Right.
I want to get a season under my belt, make sure I get leveled out, stable, and just see how things go.
No, go for it.
I can't just hire someone on in the hopes that I have people lined up to, because even with that, you're gonna, even with having that schedule, there's a lot of cancellations and stuff that happen. Mm-hmm. So we're trying to mitigate that too. We're kind of thinking that we're going to charge a fee for the scheduled days and see how it goes. I don't know how it's going to work,
right?
But we're trying to, even if it's $50 for the day, and say they have 4 pigs or 2 beef scheduled, $50. And then we're thinking maybe if they cancel 2 months before their date, we'll give it back. We'll refund it. Right. But anything under that, we're not going to, because now you've made it a headache to fill those dates up especially starting out. Right. You know, we don't have the customer base underneath us right now to call people like you were talking about the one day and say, hey, I got openings. You got anything that you can, bring in? You got any, short notice? But we're going to do the Facebook page for the butcher shop, and we'll probably post any openings, short notice openings on that. And
no, that's a huge, because I do that too. We have one for the shop, and like when that all that stuff happened, I like edited together like a cool video of just like, hey, we got openings for this, that, and the other thing. And it's terrifying. When I lost that main customer, I lost 3, 6, 9, like 10 beef for the rest of the year, and I was like, oh boy, like this is gonna be interesting.
Yeah, it's tough. You worry about that stuff because it's not anything you can control. So there's one other shop that I was supposed to go run. They started doing they charged, a certain deposit fee on their slots. Yeah. And I haven't heard how that's gone or how they've been doing. They went full USDA. Right. So, but I'm thinking even if it's a minimal, not many farmers are going to want to part with $50.
No.
You know, it's just, you can't afford to. So I'm hoping if we charge $50 that they're either going to call and cancel plenty of time ahead.
Right.
And then like we had talked about, we get steady customers they bring in so many stuff. They're always on time. We might just say, okay, we're not going to charge them that fee anymore. We know they're reliable. If something happens, it's an emergency. We'll work with people. I'm not going to be a complete dick unless it's happening all the time.
Steal money out of their pockets, but it's also like, hey, I'm also running a business.
Yes.
Technically, we need each other in this. Yeah. So don't be a dick. Like, give me $50, and at the end of the day, it is what it is.
Yeah, we'll do it on a basis thing, and if there's people that do it frequently, they'll pretty much go on a red flag list that they're going on the bottom of the priority list, and
or they're just no longer going to be coming.
Yeah.
Because you will get to a point real quick where you're just like, oh, okay, I've got a customer base and we're good. Because it's like, for an update on that on my end, to anyone who's listening, like now we're at the point where I'm pretty much booked again fully for the rest of the year. There's a couple openings, but it's like I'm good. If anything, it made the rest of my year easier. Because I did a lot of bending around to try and make that customer fit in and work. And now I'm almost enjoying it again because I feel like I'm running and gunning again. I'm just like, woo, all right, we're having fun now. Random pigs coming in on random days, like. But
yeah. Looks like you got a new guy in here.
All right, what do we got down here? Oh, all right. What's going on? Yorkshire. Where's that? I don't know. Well, thanks for coming.
I'm pretty sure that's over in England.
Oh,
Yeah.
From across the pond. Look at that.
Yep.
But yeah, no, we're getting figured out. Like I literally just had a dude. I was in the shop for about 13 hours yesterday, getting the beef fully done because I knew I didn't have the times. Yep, from England. Well, thanks for coming. I appreciate it.
Very cool. You're getting international now.
I know, that's crazy. What? But I was in the shop and I was like, again, I still have the one 12-inch bar chamber sealer. So I'm doing all the burger and I'm like every 20 seconds going back.
Need to bite the bullet after deer season and get you at least a second one.
At least a second one. I need to. It's getting ridiculous at this point.
Speaking of vacuum sealers, mine finally came in. I gotta go pick it up.
Yes. But anyway, and all of a sudden I just hear a knock on the garage door. I'm like, what? So I go out, guy in the driveway, I'm like, what's going on? And he goes, and we both look at each other and we're like, I know you, but I have no idea who you are. And we both essentially said that. We reintroduced each other. He brought a deer to me, or his buddy brought a deer. Mm-hmm. And he goes, I am coming to see if you have any openings. And I'm like, you're going to have to be a little more specific than that of when, where, what. I have no idea.
Yeah.
But he got to telling me there was a butcher shop about an hour north of me that they burned down. Not going to say this, that, or the other, but they caught on fire and they were in the rebuilding process. And he goes, so I was scheduled up there, and he used the guy's first name, so I knew he was kind of friendly with him. And he goes, he called me last night and said that he's not going to be open. He doesn't have equipment, and he doesn't know when he's going to have equipment. And I'm like, he was taking appointments when he didn't know he was going to have equipment. Mm-hmm. Excuse me? And he's like, yeah, I'm pretty pissed. I'm like, all right, well, what do we got? And he's got 3 beef, and he's like, whenever you can get them in before winter. I'm really trying not to carry these things over the winter. Yeah. He's more of a buy a cow and finish them over the spring, summer, fall. I'm like, that's a solid plan. But
we were just talking about that the other day.
I know. I was like, that is a good idea. But anyway, but it's nice now. I was able to sit down today, look at the schedule. I called a handful of people, the people I have coming in next week. I'm like, yeah, we're good. All right, cool. And then I had one person that was like, actually, if you got a later date or whatever, that would be good. So we went through all the rest of his appointments for the year, which opened up a day next week and the week after. And I'm like, perfect, cool. Call the guy. He's like, yeah, I'll have him there whatever time you need me.
That worked out.
This is all new to you? Are you not in the farming community and you somehow just ended up in a farming
This
podcast?
Is going to look great.
I know. We appreciate having you.
Yeah, it's awesome.
Yeah. But yeah, it's always interesting. And then, of course, it kind of frees up deer season a little bit more.
Yeah.
Because I don't take any archery at all. I had people prepping me because yesterday was archery opener.
Yeah.
So all last week I had people you're taking my deer, right? And I'm like, sure
no.
ain't. Sorry, buddy.
Sorry.
Yeah. And it's it was a handful of random people, which I appreciate. Yeah. I appreciate them giving me a call first instead of just getting the call. Cause then I do feel bad when I have to be like, yeah, I got this doe on the ground and it's 80. And it's
yeah,
I apologize. Buy some ice because I have a cooler full of beef that I'm not taking it in.
Yeah.
But yeah, at some point, once we have a second kind of walk-in situation, I might do more of it, but we'll see.
Yeah, I gotta figure that out too, which it won't happen this year. Next year, I'm debating because basing it off previous years of doing it on the side for, all the hunting camps and stuff around here. I'll probably do like the last week of archery, because that's when a lot of people are taking off trying to hit the rut for our area. And then the at least rifle season, but the extended rifle season here. So we got from the week before Thanksgiving all the way through middle of December. There's a week off for between Christmas and New Year's, or right before Christmas. And then the week between Christmas and New Year's, they opened another week up.
Right. Can't even easily have guns there. Yeah. That's why we jump ship. America. I'm just kidding, buddy. And Rachel, I think this is the nicest description of me of this podcast I've ever gotten.
After she told everybody that we're a little slow.
Oh, I didn't even see that. Sorry. You know what, Rachel? I take it back. But yeah, no, it's a juggle. It really is. And I forget the reason why you're not supposed to hang beef and venison. There's something like,
it's something that the venison can carry that can cross-contaminate.
Yeah.
Because it's not a farm-raised animal.
Right.
So they can't be controlled of what they come in contact with. And if you don't have it all tested, and it's easier just not to do it, because you get caught doing it and you lose everything over something
stupid
for $100 deer or whatever.
Right.
So
it is what it is, but it's always fun. Yeah. So we were chatting about something beforehand.
Yeah.
We were talking about, we both are now in the midst of figuring out all of our winter projects, or projects we need to get done before winter.
Yep.
Which usually ends up being the projects that you're running around full speed the week before, or 2 days before you see snow in the forecast.
Yeah. Yep.
And we were just shooting the shit on what we're doing with that. And Joe had a freaking awesome idea that we are definitely going to try and figure out. And we are, well, Joe, you talk about it. What are you thinking?
Yeah. For some reason, a thought popped in my head right before I hopped on here, but I was thinking about doing like a small collab videos with Kyle, and pretty much any small YouTuber. I just thought it'd be cool to get some names out. We're only at a couple hundred here. I got like 165 last time I looked subscribers. Just try to get a bunch of small channels, and I mean big channels too. I don't really, I don't have a preference. I don't care, but just get a bunch of people, do like a collab on what your plans and what you're doing to prep your homestead or small farm for winter. What's coming up for the winter. I know down south it probably won't be as crazy. They got ice storms and stuff. So, but even just to hear, it'd be cool to give everybody an idea if we can get some people across different states and see what everybody's doing, and just do a collab and just give people that are new to it ideas of what they might not have thought of, for what they need to do with their animals. Even, people first time doing chickens or rabbits or whatever, stuff. Because even when I first started, there was a lot of stuff that I didn't know, and I didn't have YouTube or anything back then to learn from. So that's the whole point of me doing my channel anyways. I'm trying to teach people as much stuff, or giving people ideas. So I thought it'd be a pretty cool idea to collab and try to get a few channels to do it.
No, and I agree. And I think that's an awesome idea, because I feel the same way about my channel. It's like, I feel like I'm almost giving back to all the things I did learn off YouTube of like,
yeah, exactly.
Yeah. But yeah, because I know I have a ton of shit that I need to get done. I still need to redo that entire winter pasture to get it ready for pigs, which I'm not looking forward to dealing with all that, but it is what it is. But it's also, I'm sure you have these random things that look crazy around your farm, but for some reason they work perfectly through the winter, and that's why you've done them.
Yeah.
Like,
one of my big projects for the winter is my pig setup. I got to figure out something different, because now I've got my 2 blue buck gilts. I'm trying to breed them for January, is what my goal is. So I need something a little bit better for 2 pigs to be fairing in the middle of winter, because I did that last year and it was a nightmare. I mean, it worked out for the one, but the other one lost her piglets, and I just trying to mitigate that stuff. Plus, I want something a little bit stronger, in case the power outages that they're talking about happens, and I only have electric fence to hold my pigs in.
That's
and
not,
with the snow load that we get, and what they're calling for this year, it grounds the fence out and stuff, and you get 3 foot of snow over your fences that are only, my top wire on my pig pen, for most of it's only knee high at the most.
Right.
Snow could drift over that in a heartbeat, and then you got
absolutely.
a pathway for the pigs to walk right over top of it. So I've got some cattle panels and stuff. I'm planning on making a couple solid pens that I can keep them in, in case something like that happens.
Yeah, no, it's because that's the same reason. Half the time I don't even have the electric on.
Yeah.
Like over some of the winter, because the past couple of years, because I only really had beef to worry about.
Yeah.
That it was like it would just short out in that pen constantly. So I'm like, I'm just gonna turn it off. It has woven wire. I don't need to worry about it. It's fine. But it's also like what you talked about for like we had a couple summers where we had a couple microbursts or whatever. We didn't have power for 3 days.
Yep.
And it's like it is nice to have that solid pen that you can get them into quick. That it's like, all right, I don't have to worry about it because it's woven wire. Like they still think the fence is on until they touch it, but yeah, having a solid structure is definitely. I'm so glad I've gone that way right off the bat. Like I didn't start with it and build a whole bunch of infrastructure. Now I have to go back, even though I am also still doing that now.
When I started doing it here, going friends farm, and I was like, I want to get them on my property. I want to start getting back into farming because we sold everything when we moved from our old property to here to try to go get into it slow. But then I always do that where I'm, I get my mindset and I'm just going for it. I'm doing it no matter what. I'm getting it done. So a lot of my fencing is temporary, but I was modeling that after Just a Few Acres Farm, Pete there. He's over here in central New York, and all his stuff's temporary for his beef cows and stuff, but his pigs are inside for the winter usually. And at my old property, most of my pastures for the goats and stuff that I had there, it was solid wire with just a strand in there. So I do the same thing. I'd shut the electric off and I had to worry about it. And we had a few years back, I want to say we had a pretty bad snowstorm and knocked out the power for 3 or 4 days. That was weird.
Yeah, it's all good. We figured it out. We knew what you're saying.
Yeah. So yeah, it just that made it a lot harder. So with what I don't know what for the whole New England area, but for New York here, they're talking about possible power outages throughout the winter because of our current situation with how our power is being supplied and where we're getting it from. Thanks to our lovely governor and other government. Yeah.
Right. Yeah. We always end up losing power up here over the winter, at least for a little bit. I need to get a better generator. We just got a dinky one right now that I end up running around the property with, like trying to put this freezer on for a couple hours, put this freezer on for a couple hours, put this freezer on for a couple hours. Like I don't even usually use the generator for anything else but freezers. I'm like, everything else is going to be cold or whatever. Yeah, we're expecting a pretty crazy winter up here this year. Like a couple footer storms. And if this summer is anything to compare it off of, we're freaking screwed. Like, seriously. Because, I mean, up here, it's like it just rained nonstop. Like, it was just so freaking rainy this year. And I remember sitting out there after like a 3-day rainstorm onto the 4th day, just going, if this was snow, we would be so fucked right now.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, we haven't been horrible. I mean, we've had a decent amount of rain in the late part of the summer. We were super dry in the beginning part in the spring. It's been crazy this year. Yeah, Rachel, about the supplemental heat.
Yeah.
Our house is heated with a standalone propane heater right now, but I am putting in a wood stove in our basement also.
Yeah.
I put it out on the internet. They're going to come arrest me now because I live in
Right.
New York. But I don't care. I'm keeping my
Are they
family.
putting limitations on wood stoves now too?
Oh yeah, she's trying to get rid of wood and gas, everything electric,
Wow.
and you can't do anything. Yeah, it's any new builds by next year, all electric appliances. They're
We're
trying
gonna
to
give you
ban
$100 rebate to go buy blankets because you're all gonna freeze to death.
exactly. It's ridiculous. I get so frustrated
I'm
thinking
sure.
about it, but I don't care. I'm not gonna let my kids freeze, so I'm putting a damn wood stove in there. I've got probably a whole winter's worth of wood cut already, and I've got a year, maybe a year and a half that's cut down from clearing for the butcher shop and what I've been just cleaning up the property because it was completely overgrown when we moved in. So I'm not gonna not utilize that.
Yeah.
Ultimately, I'd love to have a wood cook stove. It's one thing I've always wanted.
That'd be awesome. Yeah.
I just have my house is super small. I have no place to put it. There's no way I'm getting it down in my basement.
Yeah.
So
we've got a wood stove back in this room, but this room is this is my man cave, whatever area at this point now. And it used to be out what I'm assuming is a patio, and they just did it all in. So it's completely disconnected from the rest of the house. Like this over here is the barn. So that's kind of insulated.
Yeah.
But we have the wood stove out here, but it's just like the smallest yodel you can get to heat this room. So it's like in those situations, I do have that thing blasting. It is just ripping. But again, we live in we have a big farmhouse. It's not gonna touch.
No. But at least worst case scenario, you guys all go to that one room and you stay warm. So
yeah. Usually it ends up me sitting up here like a just like an old hobbit or old hermit, and I send my kids and my wife to my mom's house for whatever couple days because it's she's been super good. They've got another guest room of just I can't we can't all leave because we have a shit ton of animals that need to be fed and watered and all that.
Yep.
And you can all stay warm. There's no reason for you to be here. I'll deal with it because it's also we've gotten used to it. Our town is the last town to get fixed.
Yep.
Every single time. But what's super frustrating is because again, Maine is right here. It's 500 yards. And it's a pain in the ass, but it's also nice because my buddy Trevor, who's in Maine, will just be like, "Oh, my heat's on." I'm like, "You son of a bitch!" But it's also saved my ass in the past because it's hey, I'm coming over to get water, and I strap a bunch of the 55-gallon plastic barrels to the inside of the tractor bucket, and I just go down there and I shoot the shit with him for an hour while I fill buckets because it's I got it. All these animals still need water.
See, K-Bunk hopped in.
K-Bunk showed up.
Coal stoves. That would be great if you could find coal in New York.
Yeah.
It's ridiculous. Coal last year went from, I want to say it was around 180 a ton, went up to 440 a ton.
Yeah.
In just the one season because everybody that had coal locally around here that was selling it was told, this is all you're getting. There's no more for you.
That's crazy.
Sell what you have and that's it.
That's so insane.
So I'd really honestly, I'd like to have one of the Harmon Mark series stoves.
Yeah.
Because you do wood or coal in it. Then it gives you a little bit of options. So,
yeah, I'd love to have a big wood stove in the basement. I just don't know how we'd set it up to be in there. But just to have supplemental heat for that part of the house. Because it's when it's not in there, it's...
I don't know how far down in PA you guys are, but I'm only 40 minutes from the PA border. So if you guys want to truck some up to me, that'd be great. Oh, yeah, we got to come for your ammo, too, because what she did this week. So.
Oh, did she?
Oh, yeah.
She's following New Mexico?
Yep. Background checks on all ammo sales. And when you go, you have to fill out a form telling them what you have for guns. And if you don't disclose everything you have and they find out otherwise, you're a felon. So.
Oh boy.
Yep. Great times.
I will say our governor has his ups and downs, but I will say he came out and was like, yeah, no, we're a Second Amendment sanctuary state. Like, don't even try. We will not help you. We will not do anything to support anything you're trying to do. Be careful when you go up north because you will die.
I hate when it's time to vote for governor because you see all the Republican people that are like, they're advertising out here. It's like, you don't need to tell us. Go to the city and tell them.
Right.
Go down there and put the work in down there because that's where we need it.
Right. And then, of course, just New York City just dominates everything, and there's no way you'll ever get a Republican governor.
I'm in Western New York in Allegheny County. So I'm right off 86 Expressway.
Yeah. Yeah, New Hampshire is a weird one because it's in the presidential elections, we always end up going blue. But I'm pretty sure like our entire like state government is Republican.
Yeah.
And it's like, and then of course
you look at the maps for New York, it's the same way, except for Buffalo, Rochester, Syracuse, Albany, and New York City.
Yeah.
All the major cities and the most of the population. And Buffalo was starting to, it was teetering for, it was going that way.
Yeah, because we have Manchester, Rochester, Concord, like all them, they're all blue. And then, but it's then we also have, because New Hampshire is like the free state, so we have like, I think the biggest libertarian population like in the country. And it's like, all right, are we helping? Are we not? Because I'm definitely in the libertarian bracket for sure. More anarchy than anything.
Yeah.
But it's like, yeah, it's such a weird state. And it's of course like one of the major states, which I'm like, also, how are we one of the major states to decide this? But
I tried to move to Missouri a couple of years back. I really wanted to, but I understand my wife, you know, all the families here. And
yeah.
So. Hey, Mike.
Oh, we got Philippine Nomad in the group.
Yeah.
See, now everyone's starting to pour in.
Yeah.
Of course, right at the end.
Right at the end. That's all right. We don't judge you guys. We're going to have to move it back to 9 o'clock like Tim does.
I know. Well, he's out in Alberta.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The first 9 o'clock for us. He was saying something the other night about that. I got in there for a while.
Yeah. I was like, the first time I got booked on it, I was like, 9 o'clock? Okay. All right. And it was like on a Sunday when I knew my wife wasn't going to be home till like 9:30. So I had the kids solo. And I'm like, God forbid these kids wake up in the middle of me doing this. Because at that point, it was my biggest show I had ever done. And I'm like, oh boy.
Yeah. I need to start applying for some of the bigger shows when I start slowing down here.
Yeah, for sure.
I'd like to get on some more. It's just.
We can help you for sure.
Yours works out perfect for me because usually Saturday night at 8, I know for a fact I can make it as long as I hammer everything. I mean, I barely made it today, but it's a craziness this time of year. So,
well, it is one of those things where it's like I have my podcast at 8 o'clock on Saturdays because I have an hour to make sure my kids are asleep because they still go to bed pretty early. I have an hour to make sure my kids are asleep. And my wife's not here because she's working. So I don't need to make all I have to do is get the kids to sleep, run around, do all my chores, get everything done.
Yep.
And sit. And I know I'm not going to be interrupted with it or whatever. So it is nice to where it's like, I have it set up for the dad farmer who's, so it works out.
Our kids luckily they're the age where they're pretty self-sufficient. So I can, because I do it out here on my front porch right now, just because it's kind of quiet.
Right.
I'm away from the kids, but they could still be inside doing their thing if they're awake.
Right.
So it's not so bad.
Yeah. Yeah. Rachel says that's why she doesn't do Tim's live. I get it, but it's also, I look forward to the lives. I'm like, all right, what are we doing?
Usually I'm still awake. Like if I can if I'm sat down, because most of the time, especially during the week, working and stuff, I don't come inside and sit down until 9 o'clock. And then I still have to eat my dinner and everything else. So while I'm eating dinner, I usually try to catch it. If Tim's on there, I have a hard time catching Brian's interviews and stuff just because the way it's scheduled out. So I go back and I've been slowly listening to them. But I'm hoping when I get into the shop, I can start catching up on podcasts. I can listen to them while I'm working. So
that is the nicest thing. And I was thinking about it today when I was talking to somebody about employees and stuff like that. And like, I was just thinking about the conversation today. And I was like, that's the other thing. If I have an employee, I got to talk to him. Like I have to be like social with somebody.
Yeah.
I'd rather just be alone with my headphones in and just not talk to anyone for 9 hours.
I don't mind talking to,
neither do I,
people.
Obviously. Like,
yeah, obviously. But like, you get a good crew around a table.
It's the greatest thing in the planet.
Yeah.
We've talked about that on Josh's show before, where it's like, it is the greatest feeling.
Yeah. I mean, I've probably never laughed so hard as I did when I worked at that USDA shop with those guys, but I don't know. I don't know when or how I'm going to have employees yet. I'm not planning on any, so we'll see how it goes. It just depends on how it takes off.
Dwayne, it's 2 a.m. where you are and you're watching some dudes on the East Coast of the U.S. talk about farm shit and their kids. Good for you, man. I hope, please, like and subscribe. I want to see you in here more. That's awesome.
Froze up a little bit.
No, you're good. Oh, but speaking of slow, I got to scroll back up. And Rachel's making fun of me for being slow. But this was her response. See, Kyle, you are slow. Laugh my ass off. Who's the slow one now, Rachel? Yeah, no, I will say, I miss that more than anything. Just being in a cut room for 9 hours a day. Yeah. And so many jokes, so many laughs, so many inappropriate things done to dead animals. That just so many.
Yeah.
And for everyone who's like, I think I might be taking that out of context, you're probably not.
No.
Not
at all.
No. But all right, Joe, what do you got going on? What do you want people to see?
Well, after I get done here, I'm going to upload my lamb processing video. I started this morning, but I got super busy. Yeah, I'm hoping another butcher shop update coming up here pretty quick, depending on when the walls and the roof get done. Anybody that's not in the Telegram chat hasn't seen it yet. But we've got steel and some trusses and stuff on. I've got baby pigs, do a video on that. I'm hoping tomorrow to film the cost of raising the meat birds this year. I've been trying to get time to do that. I'm hoping to sit down tomorrow and do that.
Nice.
Try to get some more informational videos out for people. So yeah, that's what we've got going on.
Awesome. Yeah, I've got a ton of stuff. After I'm done with this, I'm uploading a piglet video of weaning the pigs, getting them out, and me being attacked by piglets. So that'll be a fun one. For anyone who didn't catch my podcast with Jack Spirko on the Survival Podcast, make sure you go listen to that. That was a fun one. That was a cool moment.
That turned out really good.
Yeah.
I actually made the guy that works with me listen to it on the way home so I could listen to it, because it was like an hour and 45 minutes.
Like 45 minutes.
And that's what our drive back from that last job was. So it worked out perfect.
Yeah.
I said, I don't care. I'm listening to this. So
he's like, who the fuck is this guy?
He knows that I do the podcast and stuff.
Yeah.
I've talked about you quite a bit.
But no, that was a super fun one. I'm appreciative of Jack for having me on. But definitely go listen to that. And I think I have a couple other podcasts lined up. I think Kentucky Sustainable Living. I think I'm going to be on his show soon. And then we got some fun guests coming on here. I think we have Tim coming on at the end of the month. And he's going to talk about just when he was farming and kind of farming with the preparedness mindset. So that'll be a fun one. We're starting to get into a rhythm, folks. We're starting to figure it out. We talked about it on the content episode we did on Tim's show, where it's like everyone was like, at 20 episodes, something just kind of clicked, and I don't know what happened, and it just went. And then I hit 20 episodes and got a survival podcast. I've got a bunch of guests coming up, and I've got a bunch of other stuff coming up where it's pretty cool. We're figuring it all out. Everyone can follow me at backwoodsbutcher603. So that's obviously YouTube if you're watching it here. Like and subscribe to that. But it is also TikTok, Instagram. I'm going to be making a concerted effort to try and post on Instagram more. I just haven't been at all. It's just out of sight, out of mind. I
don't know how you keep up with it. I don't have any of that.
Dude, I have no idea. I honestly have no idea. I think at this point, I've just put it in my head as like, this is also work. So you need to do this work, raise your kids, and then also like do stupid TikToks that I don't know. It's crazy. I don't understand how I'm doing it either. But there definitely are moments during the day where it was like today, my youngest was down for a nap, and I like came in and I got my oldest snacks and some milk, and she's watching TV, and I'm like, that is going to run outside for a minute. And then I'm like running around going, what can I film? What can I put behind it? What are we going to do here? Because it's TikTok's fucking weird, man. I'm trying to figure it out. I don't know. I really don't. And there's a part of me that's just like, am I doing this? And then I am. And then I'm doing it, and I'm getting decent response back from people, and it's growing. So it's like, all right, if it wasn't growing, I wouldn't be doing it. But I'm going up 100 subscribers every like 2 or 3 days.
Nice.
So follow me on TikTok. We have fun.
Yeah, I've tried talking to Danae to take over and do the TikTok. She's like, I don't want you on there. I don't really have. I don't have the time to do the YouTube stuff right now, let alone all that other stuff.
She doesn't want you on her TikTok?
No, just on TikTok, period.
Oh, in general? Dude, it's bad. It is bad. Because it's one of those things where it's like, everyone who is successful at TikTok will say this, and I am not saying I'm successful at TikTok. Yep. I'm just repeating. To be successful at TikTok, you also need to spend some time on TikTok.
Yeah.
And like scroll through. And I'm learning that now. Because it's like, depending on what your algorithm is, what you're posting.
Yep.
Because there's 2 ways to look at TikTok. There is like just the mindless all day going person who's just going through it. And then there's the people like me who it's like, I'm looking at this as a possible business opportunity to promote other things. So it's when I'm looking at TikTok, obviously I'm still laughing at like babies and dogs and stuff and randomly crying at movie clips. That is what it is. But there's still those ones where it's like, oh, I like how they used that. I can do something similar to that. And it's like my newest thing I've been doing is if I'm outside when the sun's like usually during night chores, when the sun's setting, is I'll take like a video of the field because our spot is gorgeous because we just have a massive 14-acre field in the middle of the woods. So the sunset looks freaking gorgeous, perfect east-west. So I've been taking like sunset videos and Googling inspirational hardworking quotes, and those seem to do well. But that's the part of it where I just look at it, I'm like, this is so goddamn corny what I'm doing. But I'm like, it's also getting engagement and it's working. So I guess it's not too dumb.
Yeah, I'm trying to get into the routine of posting a little bit more and sharing some more on our Facebook page too, now that it's transitioned over into that. So
yeah, I've come to realize that like explaining this to people who don't really understand it, I'm guessing it has the same feeling as like telling your parents you're gay. Like that's what it feels like. That's what it really does feel like, of just like, well, I make silly 15-second videos and I put them out on the internet for people to giggle at. Accept me. Love me.
Yeah, that's been like, because I've always been like, I don't want anybody knowing what I'm doing. I don't like sharing my life. So it's been tough for me to get in the mindset of I'm trying to do something good for other people. I'm trying to encourage other people that want to get into this lifestyle. And so it's been tough for me to share with my friends and family. They're like, "You're doing what?"
Yeah.
You
I
like
purposely
Danae's picking on me. She's like, she goes around telling everybody, "Joe's making friends on the internet." And everybody's like, "He's doing what? Joe's doing what?"
My wife does. Actually, my wife doesn't. She's still kind of like, I don't know about this. I don't know what you're doing. I don't know if I like it. She's coming around. She's coming around for sure because she's figuring out. Like I had a buddy that like I was on his. I think I went to his bachelor. No, I didn't go to his bachelor party. We were just at his wedding. My buddy from high school. I've known his family forever. And I'm doing chores and my phone rings and I look at the text and it's him and he goes, "Dude, you're on the survival podcast. How the hell did that happen?" He's like, "I almost crashed the truck when you were pronouncing your name at the beginning." I was like, "Oh shit." And that hit me too. Like I was walking around with some big dick energy for like a day and a half. I was like, "Look at that. People know who I am."
Yeah, it was funny because when I very first started my YouTube channel, I think I had like 4 videos out. We had to go meet the principal at the new school the kids are going to. And I walked in, he goes, "Hey, I've seen you before. You're on YouTube." And I'm like, I've got like 4 videos out, but it was from, some of our family and friends sharing it.
Right.
That he had seen it. So I thought that was pretty cool.
Yeah. But no. So we're figuring it out. We're getting there. But I appreciate everyone who does come into the lives. Rachel, Philippine Nomad, I can't thank you guys enough for keep coming around. It's a fun little community that
it is.
We're getting into. Here we go. What do we got, Dwayne? America is another world. One day I will go see. I seem to be more interested in American politics than our own. That's probably why these channels have popped up for me. Yeah, I try not to. Well, I can't. That's a lie. We've gotten into it before, pretty heavy.
He's probably looking it up so he has something to laugh at every day. If he's
probably
our politics lately.
2 idiot bearded Americans going, but yeah, no, our politics are fun. Again, on here, I try to keep it as limited as possible because you and me have had some conversations off air.
I try to not bring politics into like my channel and stuff. It's just it's a headache. It really is.
And I think something that I don't think I brought this up on the roundtable I did the other day on Two Man Tim's, but I wanted to, is I think a major part of doing these channels is being genuine to yourself as well. Because I don't know about you, I hate the overproduced, like, "Hey, what's going on? We're doing this." Like, I hate those channels with a passion.
Yeah.
And I feel like sometimes I get stuck watching them because they're at the point where they're successful enough that they get to do the cool shit or they have the new things that I want to see what they're doing. And we're stuck in like a music video of just like, we're doing this. It's chicken. It's like, I'm not doing that. I'm swearing.
Everybody's like, you need to come up with a catchphrase. I'm like, but I don't even know what would,
I'm not a catchphrase guy. The closest I have to that is bullet to freezer, which I think I'm keeping. And I think I'm going to put it on a couple of my, like when I do start doing merch, it's a toss up between bullet to freezer and livestock assassin.
That one's pretty good.
That was pretty great, right?
But yeah, I don't know. Like even trying to figure out stuff like that for the, butcher shop and the business when we get it up and going. I have a tough time with that stuff.
Yeah.
So
I get it. Yeah. This whole thing is interesting. Are they not alerting you? Is that what Philippine Nomad's saying?
Yeah, he said that he's subscribed and hit the bell for everyone, but notifications haven't been alerting him.
The only thing I would have to say to that is I listen to a bunch of podcasts where they probably have different views than the people at YouTube say. And they've had issues where people don't get notifications when things go live and stuff. So honestly, I'm probably a little honored that I'm in that classification where they think that my voice is going across the nation and turning people against them.
I noticed the other day, I tried putting out a couple shorts because I'm trying to get back into doing that.
I need to start doing that more.
I had one that just like, I went back because I did it as when I left in the morning, and at like I stopped to eat something. And I have to check on it, and I had like 3 views. I'm like, so I tried. You have to word stuff just right to get it to go out.
You so do, and it's because I'm finding that on TikTok too, where it's just like I could scroll, and there's just like craziness, tits out, craziness. And then I post like an informational video on how to like skin out a bear.
Yeah.
Animal abuse.
Yep.
Violations of code, terrorism. I'm like, what are you talking about? Like, I don't know. It's an interesting thing to work around. But Joe, it's been a fun one.
Yep.
We'll have you on again for some definite fun stuff. And there will be updates on, I don't even know what we would call the winterization.
I don't know. We're gonna have to
we'll brainstorm something.
Yeah, we'll brainstorm on it.
Yeah, we'll talk about who we're reaching out to, and there will be news on that, and probably a podcast at the end of it, and we'll see what's going on. So
perfect.
Joe, I appreciate you coming on. Everyone in the chat, I appreciate you, and everyone who's listening now. Thanks for listening, and I hope you all got a chance